We feel free. We stand on the hilltops of our lives, gazing at the vast horizons. We believe that the world is ours to explore. We walk through open fields, feeling the wind in our hair, convinced that we are the masters of our destiny. We feel like we make choices every day, from what we eat to the careers we pursue. Each decision, whether it's picking an apple over an orange or choosing a career path, seems to be a testament to our autonomy. But what if this sense of free will is just an illusion? What if the choices we believe we are making are merely the result of a complex web of influences and predetermined factors? This is a question that has puzzled philosophers and scientists for centuries. From ancient scholars poring over texts to modern scientists conducting experiments, the debate over free will versus determinism has been a central theme in the quest to understand human nature. It's a question that cuts to the core of who we are and how we understand the world. When we look in the mirror, we see a person who believes in their ability to choose, to change, to grow. But is this belief founded on reality, or is it a comforting illusion? The implications of not having free will are profound. Imagine standing at a crossroads, believing you can choose any path, only to realize that your route was predetermined all along. This realization can be both unsettling and enlightening. It challenges our ideas of morality and responsibility. In a courtroom where justice is served, the notion of free will is fundamental. If our actions are not truly our own, how can we be held accountable for them? This question shakes the very foundation of our legal and moral systems. If our actions are predetermined, can we truly be held accountable for them? The judge's gavel, the prisoner's sorrowful gaze, these scenes take on new meaning when viewed through the lens of determinism. The answer to this question has huge consequences for how we think about justice, punishment, and even the meaning of life itself. The scales of justice may tip differently if we accept that free will is an illusion. Our reflections by the lake, our contemplations of life's purpose, all hinge on this fundamental question. The feeling of free will is so ingrained in our experience that it's hard to imagine it's not real. As we sit on park benches, lost in daydreams, or gaze at the night sky pondering the universe, the sense of autonomy feels undeniable. We can easily conjure up the feeling of making a choice, of weighing our options and deciding on a course of action. The act of listing pros and cons, or even flipping a coin, reinforces our belief in our decision-making power. But how much control do we really have over these decisions? When we hesitate at a fork in the road or puzzle over a decision tree, are we truly exercising free will, or are we following a script written by our biology, our environment, and our past experiences? This video will explore the possibility that free will is an illusion. Through the lens of philosophy and science, we will delve into the arguments and evidence that challenge our most cherished beliefs about autonomy and control. Join us on this journey as we unravel the threads of the illusion of freedom. One way to understand the argument against free will is through the concept of determinism. This philosophical idea has been debated for centuries, challenging our understanding of human autonomy and the nature of the universe itself. Determinism is the idea that every event, including every human action and thought, is a necessary consequence of prior events and the laws of nature. It suggests that everything that happens is the result of a chain of events that stretches back to the beginning of time. Imagine the universe as a giant clock. Every tick of the clock is predetermined by the previous tick and the clock's mechanism. This metaphor illustrates how, in a deterministic universe, the future is as fixed and unchangeable as the past. In this model, there's no room for freedom. Everything that happens happens because it has to. The planets move in their orbits, the stars burn in the sky, and even our thoughts and actions are part of this grand, unchanging design. Of course, we don't live our lives feeling like cogs in a machine. We feel like we have genuine choices and that our decisions matter. We experience joy, sorrow, love, and regret, all of which seem to stem from our own free will. But determinists argue that this feeling of freedom is a product of our ignorance. They suggest that our sense of making free choices is an illusion, a byproduct of not understanding the myriad factors that influence our decisions. We simply don't have access to all the factors that determine our actions. These factors include our genetic makeup, our upbringing, our environment, and countless other variables that shape who we are and how we behave. Our brains are incredibly complex organs shaped by billions of years of evolution and influenced by countless environmental factors. This complexity means that while we may feel like we are making independent choices, those choices are actually the result of a vast network of influences. Every decision we make, every thought we have, is a product of this complex interplay of factors. From the neurons firing in our brains to the cultural norms we absorb, everything contributes to the decisions we believe we're making freely. This perspective challenges us to rethink what it means to be human and to consider the profound implications of living in a clockwork universe. The idea that our conscious decisions might be an afterthought is supported by neuroscientific research. This concept challenges our traditional understanding of free will and personal agency, suggesting that our brains might be working behind the scenes, making choices before we even realize it. In the 1980s, Benjamin Libet conducted groundbreaking experiments that seemed to show brain activity related to decision-making occurring before subjects were consciously aware of making a decision. His work has since become a cornerstone in the field of neuroscience, sparking debates and further research into the nature of consciousness and free will. Libet asked participants to choose a random moment to flick their wrist while he monitored their brain activity. This simple yet ingenious experiment was designed to pinpoint the exact moment when a decision is made and to see if there was any brain activity preceding this conscious choice. He found that a specific brain signal known as the readiness potential preceded the participant's conscious decision to move their wrist. This readiness potential appeared several hundred milliseconds before the participants reported their conscious intention to act, suggesting that the brain had already initiated the process of movement before the individual became aware of their decision. This suggests that the unconscious brain might be initiating actions before we are even aware of making a choice. The implications of this are profound, as it challenges the notion that we are fully in control of our actions and decisions at all times. While Libet's findings are not without their critics and interpretations are debated, they raise important questions about the timing of conscious will. Some argue that the readiness potential merely reflects a preparatory process that does not necessarily determine the final decision, while others believe it indicates a more fundamental role of the unconscious brain in decision-making. If our brains are making decisions before we are even aware of them, what does that say about our sense of free will? Are we truly the authors of our actions, or are we simply following a script written by our unconscious mind? These questions touch on the very essence of what it means to be human and to have control over our lives. These findings, along with other neuroscientific research, suggest that our conscious experience of making a choice might be a story our brains tell us after the fact, rather than the actual driver of our actions. This narrative constructed by our brain gives us the illusion of control and agency, even if the real decision-making process happens behind the scenes. Understanding this complex interplay between conscious and unconscious processes can provide deeper insights into human behavior and the nature of free will. Our choices are not made in a vacuum. They are influenced by a complex interplay of genetic predispositions, upbringing, cultural norms, and personal experiences. From the moment we are born, our environment shapes who we are and how we see the world. Our genes influence our temperament, personality traits, and predispositions to certain behaviors. Our upbringing shapes our values, beliefs, and moral compass. The culture we are raised in provides us with a framework for understanding the world and our place in it. Even seemingly insignificant factors like the weather or the news we consume can affect our mood and influence our decisions. All these factors, both big and small, converge to create the unique individuals we are and shape the choices we make. If our choices are so heavily influenced by factors outside our control, it raises the question, do we really have any free will at all? Thank you for joining us on this journey through the concept of free will. What are your thoughts? Comment below, share, like, and subscribe for more content on reality and the mind.